Jack Turner was a man who never complained, though life had given him more than enough reasons to do so. He was 36 years old, a single father raising his 6-year-old daughter Emily, all by himself. His wife had passed away when Emily was just a baby, leaving him with a broken heart and the heavy responsibility of being both mother and father. Jack didn't have a college degree, so finding a stable career was always a struggle. The only job he could hold on to consistently was working as a janitor at a corporate office tower in downtown New York City. It didn't pay much, but it was honest work, and it allowed him to keep food on the table and a roof over Emily's head. Every evening, after cleaning hallways, wiping down desks, and mopping floors until his back ached, Jack would leave the building with tired steps. He often glanced at the glass windows of the skyscraper, where lights still glowed in the offices of powerful executives. Those people lived in a different world: luxury cars, expensive suits, homes with maids and drivers. Jack never envied them. He only hoped one day his daughter would have opportunities he never did. On a chilly autumn night, the office tower was quieter than usual. Most employees had already gone home, but the CEO, Richard Anderson, was still in the building. Everyone knew his reputation: rich, strict, and always rushing. Jack rarely saw him up close. Their worlds never mixed. Jack was invisible to men like him. After finishing his last round of work, Jack walked toward the parking lot, where his old pickup truck sat among sleek BMWs and shining Teslas. He was thinking about Emily's bedtime story and whether she had fallen asleep waiting for him. But just as he turned the corner, his eyes caught something strange. Across the lot, Mr. Anderson walked briskly toward his luxury black Mercedes. He had a phone pressed to his ear, speaking sharply about a business deal. Jack might not have noticed anything unusual, but years of being alert as a single parent had sharpened his instincts. He had learned to notice small things most people ignored: the way a door was slightly ajar, or how footsteps in the dark didn't sound right. Through the tinted glass of the CEO's car, Jack thought he saw a shadow move. At first, he doubted himself. Maybe it was just a trick of the dim light, or maybe his tired eyes were imagining it. But then the figure shifted again, low in the back seat, as if hiding. Jack's heart slammed against his ribs. He froze, then looked again to be sure. The CEO had already pulled out his keys and reached for the door handle. Jack knew he had only seconds to act. Fear and hesitation flashed through his mind. What if he was wrong? What if he embarrassed himself in front of the most powerful man in the building? But then another thought struck him like lightning. If he stayed silent and he was right, Mr. Anderson could be in grave danger. Without thinking twice, Jack shouted across the parking lot with all the force in his lungs. His voice echoed off the concrete walls. "Don't get in the car!" The CEO froze, startled by the sudden yell. His hand stopped on the car door. Confused, he turned toward the janitor, eyebrows furrowed. "What did you say?" he demanded, clearly annoyed. Jack didn't back down. He stepped closer, his voice trembling but firm. "Don't open that door! There's someone inside." For a second, silence filled the parking lot. Mr. Anderson narrowed his eyes, about to dismiss him, but then a faint movement inside the car made him pause. The tinted window revealed just enough, a shape shifting in the back seat. Mr. Anderson's face drained of color. He stumbled back, pulling out his phone. At the same time, Jack waved frantically toward the security booth. "Security! Over here!" he shouted. Two guards came running, and in moments they yanked open the car door. A masked man lunged out, but he was quickly pinned down. A knife clattered onto the ground. The scene turned chaotic as more guards rushed in, holding the intruder down while he shouted threats. Jack stood still, his chest heaving, adrenaline surging through his veins. He could hardly believe what just happened. If he hadn't noticed, if he hadn't shouted in time, the CEO might have been attacked, or worse. Mr. Anderson looked at Jack with wide eyes, his usual authority stripped away by shock. For the first time, the billionaire CEO and the janitor stood face to face, no longer divided by class or title, but by the reality of what had just been prevented. Jack had saved him. That night, as sirens wailed and police arrived, Jack quietly slipped back toward his pickup truck. He didn't wait for praise or thanks. He just wanted to go home to Emily, hold her close, and thank God that he was in the right place at the right time. The parking lot was still, buzzing with flashing lights from patrol cars and the low hum of radios. Police officers cuffed the kidnapper and pushed him into the back of a squad car. Reporters hadn't arrived yet, but word was spreading quickly. Mr. Anderson, the powerful CEO, had nearly been abducted, and the man who saved him wasn't a bodyguard or an executive. It was Jack Turner, the quiet janitor no one ever noticed. Mr. Anderson stood silently for a long moment, watching the squad car drive away. His mind was racing. All his life he had surrounded himself with layers of protection, security systems, expensive cars, private bodyguards for big events. But none of them had caught what Jack did. A janitor, exhausted after a long shift, had seen what everyone else missed. When he turned, he noticed Jack walking toward his beat-up pickup truck, head low, ready to leave like nothing happened. "Wait!" Mr. Anderson called out. His voice was quieter than usual, not commanding, but almost uncertain. Jack stopped, glancing over his shoulder. You saved my life," the CEO said, stepping closer. His polished shoes clicked against the pavement. "If you hadn't shouted," he broke off, swallowing hard. "I don't even want to think about what could have happened." Jack shrugged, uncomfortable with the attention. "I just saw something that didn't look right. Anyone would have done the same." But Mr. Anderson shook his head firmly. "No, people don't shout at strangers in power suits. People don't risk looking foolish to stop a man like me from getting into his own car." "You did." Jack didn't know what to say. He wasn't used to anyone, let alone a CEO, speaking to him with that much respect. He gave a small nod, then murmured, "Well, I've got to get home. My daughter's waiting." And with that, he drove away in his old truck, leaving Mr. Anderson deep in thought. The next morning, Jack returned to work, expecting things to go back to normal. Life never slowed down for him. Emily had school. Bills were piling up, and the rent was due soon. But when he arrived at the building, something was different. Security greeted him warmly, almost nervously, and several employees whispered as he walked past. "Mr. Turner, the CEO wants to see you," said a receptionist, looking both surprised and impressed. Jack's stomach tightened. He had never been in the executive office before. He rode the elevator up to the top floor, his work boots squeaking on the polished marble. When the doors opened, he stepped into an office that looked more like a penthouse than a workplace. Floor-to-ceiling windows, with a sweeping view of the city, walls lined with books and awards. At the center of it all sat Richard Anderson. "Jack," the CEO said, rising from behind his desk. "Please sit." Jack perched awkwardly on the leather chair, feeling out of place. "Sir, if this is about last night, I don't need—" But Anderson raised a hand. "It is about last night. And don't tell me you don't need anything. You deserve more than just a thank you. You saved my life. That's not something I can ignore." Jack shifted uneasily. He wasn't used to kindness from bosses. "I did what I had to do. My daughter's the only reason I'm still standing. I couldn't imagine her growing up without me. So when I saw you walking into danger, I thought, maybe someone else's kid feels the same way about you." For the first time in years, Richard Anderson felt something crack inside him. He had children too, but his work had always come first. Hearing Jack speak made him realize how fragile life really was, and how much he had taken for granted. "Tell me about your daughter," Anderson said softly. Jack smiled faintly, the weariness in his face softening. "Her name's Emily, 6 years old. Smart as a whip, loves books, wants to be a teacher when she grows up. She's my whole world." Anderson leaned back thoughtful. Then he said words Jack never expected to hear. "I want to give you a promotion." Jack blinked in shock. "A promotion? Sir, I'm a janitor." "Not anymore," Anderson said firmly. "You have instincts sharper than any of my security team. You notice details others miss. That's not just luck, it's character. From today, you'll be working in building safety. Better hours, better pay, and full health insurance for you and Emily." Jack's throat tightened. For years he had struggled, picking up extra shifts, skipping meals so Emily never went hungry. Now out of nowhere his life was changing. He opened his mouth to protest, but Anderson cut him off again. "This isn't charity, Jack. This is me investing in someone I trust. You've earned it. Tears burned Jack's eyes, but he blinked them back. "Thank you," he whispered, voice rough. That night, when Jack came home, Emily ran into his arms as always. But this time he had news. "Sweetheart," he said, kneeling so he was eye level with her. "Daddy got a new job today. Things are going to be a little easier now." Emily's eyes lit up. "Really? Does that mean you won't be so tired all the time?" Jack laughed, pulling her close. "Yeah, baby girl. That's exactly what it means." The news spread through the company quickly. How a janitor saved the CEO. How the CEO rewarded him not with just money, but a chance at a better life. Some employees were stunned, others inspired. But for Jack, it wasn't about recognition. It was about going home each night, knowing his daughter's future was brighter. And for Mr. Anderson, it was a lesson he would never forget. Sometimes the people society overlooks are the very ones who can change everything in a single moment.